a kingdom once whispered in medieval chronicles, a land that ruled the mists before England had a name. It was said to have been swallowed by the earth, its people forgotten, its walls buried beneath centuries of soil and silence. But scattered across the countryside, beneath quiet villages and rivers whose names remember what men do not, lie traces of something older. A kingdom that may never have died, only gone underground. To understand this mystery, we must travel back, long before the Saxons, before the Normans, to the centuries after Rome withdrew from Britain. The 5th century, a time of fractured lands and fading light. Where once imperial banners flew above legionary roads, now petty kings ruled from timber halls, their names barely recorded. It was in this twilight that rumors began. Chroniclers in monasteries along the Welsh border wrote of an ancient realm, a hidden kingdom said to lie somewhere in the heart of Britain, beneath the green hills of the east. The landscape itself seems to conspire with the legend. The Midlands, a region of gentle valleys and subterranean caverns, rivers that vanish into limestone, re-emerging miles away. Roman tunnels, flooded mines, and collapsed fortresses sleep beneath the soil, veiled by time. To the monks of the 12th century, such voids were not geology but punishment, evidence of a city drowned for its sins. They called it Caer Caradoc, Avalon the sunken hall, names that drift between scripture and myth. In one manuscript, preserved in Hereford, a scribe describes a land that fell in a single night, when the earth opened and the bells of its churches were heard no more. Centuries later, travelers began to tell of strange ruins uncovered by plow or flood. Near the River Severn, farmers found blackened stones arranged in circles. Others unearthed coins stamped with faces no scholar could name. Local tales claimed that under certain moons, you could still hear the bells of the lost city tolling from underground. Was this only folklore or memory? Archaeologists today know that Britain's soil is layered like an archive. Below each era lies another, Iron Age beneath Roman, Roman beneath Bronze. In pockets of Shropshire and Worcestershire, LiDAR mapping has revealed ghostly outlines of walls and streets no map records. One site, a low ridge once dismissed as glacial debris, now shows the faint grid of a planned settlement. A lost township perhaps, or something grander. The oldest references come from Geoffrey of Monmouth, writing in the 1130s. He speaks of a kingdom of the deep vales, ruled by a line of kings whose halls shone with bronze, whose fate was to be buried but not consumed. Historians once dismissed Geoffrey as a dreamer, but recent excavations at Wroxeter, the Roman Viroconium, have reignited debate. Wroxeter was once the 4th largest city in Roman Britain. By AD 400, it should have fallen silent, yet evidence shows continued life. Rebuilt halls, reused baths, Christian symbols etched over imperial masonry. It was as if a shadow kingdom rose from Rome's ruins. Native Britons, inheriting stone and order, resisting the chaos beyond their walls. Some believe this was the seed of the lost kingdom, a post-Roman successor state that endured in secret, its memory preserved as myth once Saxon chroniclers took control of England and S story. But the trail darkens. By the 9th century, all written record ceases. No charters, no kings, no wars. Only a name that appears once, Turnval, the Vale of Kings, recorded in a 9th century fragment from Winchester. The parchment is damaged, only half a sentence remains. And the earth swallowed the veil and its people became as shadows. Could this be poetic? Or a literal account of disaster? An earthquake, landslip, flood? In 2018, geologists found evidence of a massive subsidence event in this region. Sinkholes stretching for miles, caused by collapsing limestone caverns. Some align eerily with medieval place names containing lost, sunken, or hollow. Perhaps the kingdom truly did vanish, not through war, but through the earth itself. Yet the most haunting clue lies in the ground. In 2020, archaeologists using ground-penetrating radar beneath a village church discovered a network of tunnels, sealed since Saxon times. One passage ends abruptly at a wall of packed clay, beyond which the instruments register an open chamber nearly 20 meters wide. Inside, the echoes suggest hollows of worked stone. For now, the hill sleeps. Villagers pass over it each morning, unaware of what lies beneath their feet. Only the wind seems to whisper. Names, perhaps, or warnings. Some say the kingdom was punished, others that it waits, suspended in time, for the day it will rise again. But what if the truth wasn't lost at all? What if England's forgotten kingdom never disappeared, only changed its face, hidden beneath centuries of soil, legend, and silence? Last time we followed the whispers of a kingdom said to lie beneath England's green hills, a realm swallowed by the earth, remembered only in fragments of medieval verse and legend. Now, new clues emerge, maps that should not exist, structures that predate written history, and a riddle buried in the landscape itself. For centuries, the tale of the lost kingdom was dismissed as folklore, a monk's invention, a farmer's tale. But archaeology, as it often does, has begun to breathe life into myth. In 2018, during flood mitigation work near Roxeter, sensors detected what appeared to be an underground grid, straight lines, right angles, foundations. When overlaid on a map of Roman Viraconium, the alignment made no sense. The buried structure lay beneath Roman roads, deeper still, older, yet astonishingly organized. Archaeologists hesitated to announce their findings publicly, fearing ridicule. But one report, leaked months later, spoke of non-Roman masonry of monumental scale. Granite blocks, carved in patterns unseen elsewhere in Britain. The discovery reignited an old theory first proposed in the 19th century, the subterranean kingdom hypothesis, advanced by historian Elias Hargreaves. Hargreaves believed that post-Roman Britain saw the rise of enclaves built underground, refugees from invasion, disease, or climate. He based this on a curious entry in a 7th century chronicle describing a people who withdrew beneath the ground, saying they would return when the sun was right. Modern scholars once mocked the idea. Yet across Shropshire and Herefordshire, over 400 subterranean chambers have now been catalogued. Some are clearly medieval storage pits or hideouts, but others, with vaulted ceilings and carved arches, are far too sophisticated. One, near Kinveredge, bears inscriptions in an unknown script. What was this? A hidden network? Or the final refuge of a kingdom fading into myth? Carbon dating places some of these chambers around the 6th century, exactly the period Britain fractured after Rome's retreat. In that chaos, could a surviving polity have gone to ground, literally, building beneath rather than above? Then there are the bells. Across western England, villagers have long spoken of church bells ringing from beneath fields after heavy rain. Geophysicists call it coincidence, acoustics carried through caverns. But the recurrence of the same motif, bells beneath the earth, suggests a cultural memory far older than Christianity's arrival. A 12th century monk from Gloucester, writing in De Regnis Occultis, claimed, "When the ground shook near Severn, the monks said it was not the Lord's wrath, but the city below, remembering." Curiously, modern geological data shows significant subsidence exactly where those haunted bells were heard. Science and legend overlap, if only for a moment. As news of the discovery spread, 3 main theories emerged, each more compelling and more controversial than the last. Theory 1. The Roman remnant. Some historians argue the lost kingdom was nothing mystical, simply a post-Roman city-state descended from surviving imperial officials. As Rome withdrew, they fortified the ruins of Viraconium, maintaining literacy, trade, and religion, while the rest of Britain fell into fragmentation. This theory suggests the kingdom's disappearance was political, not geological. By the 7th century, Saxon chroniclers may have deliberately erased it, a Romanized remnant incompatible with their narrative of conquest and divine right. Supporters point to early Christian symbols found beneath later Saxon churches, layered faiths, one buried under another. An empire's ghost, hidden under England's skin. Theory 2. The subterranean refuge. Others, drawing from Hargreaves's hypothesis, believe the kingdom was literally underground, a refuge built during famine or war, perhaps an alliance of local tribes, uniting in secrecy as waves of invasion broke across the island. Archaeologist Dr. Marianne Hollis argues the legend of the sunken halls may reflect not destruction, but deliberate concealment, a civilization choosing invisibility to survive. Tunnels beneath Kinver, Bridge North, and the Wyre Forest all share one feature: hidden entrances sealed with massive stone slabs, accessible only from within. Someone wanted to vanish. Theory 3. The mythic parallel. A smaller circle of scholars, historians of myth, propose that the kingdom beneath England may not refer to a place at all, but an idea, an allegory for lost sovereignty, the memory of native Britons erased by conquest. In this reading, the earth did not literally swallow a city. Rather, history itself buried a people, a poetic rebellion against forgetting. They link it to the Arthurian tradition, Avalon, the Isle of Glass, the kingdom that sleeps beneath the hill. Perhaps they suggest every culture invents its own lost kingdom, a mirror reflecting what it fears to lose. And yet the physical evidence persists. Stones do not dream, maps do not lie. In 2021, a small expedition sponsored by the University of Birmingham used LiDAR imaging beneath the River Teme Valley. The scans revealed the outline of what appears to be a stone ring structure, 100 meters across, buried beneath sediment. Inside the ring, a pattern resembling streets. Could this be the heart of the myth? The vanished capital itself? If so, the implications would be staggering, not just for archaeology, but for how England's early history is understood. Still, the deeper researchers dig, the stranger the findings become. Stone carvings that predate Rome. Charcoal fragments far older than the supposed lost era. And inscriptions, untranslatable, in a language that no one recognizes. At first, it was thought to be Latin, then Welsh, then something else entirely. One symbol repeats, a circle within a crown, the mark found again and again in subterranean chambers across the region. Some call it the sigil of the buried king. Others say it's a warning. The most daring theory of all suggests that the kingdom did not vanish beneath England, but that England itself grew upon it, layer after layer, like soil over a grave. And if that is true, then every step upon these green hills is a step above forgotten kings. But one final discovery would change everything we thought we knew. Last time we followed the trail of a vanished kingdom. Beneath England is green hills, and beneath history itself. We saw how fragments of stone, whispers of bells, and ancient lines carved in darkness began to paint a picture no one expected to find. But now, a discovery has been made. One that could finally answer the question that has haunted historians for centuries. If the kingdom beneath England ever existed, then this is where it reveals itself. In early 2024, a joint expedition between the University of Birmingham and the British Geological Survey began excavations near the River Teme, the same site where LiDAR scans had revealed circular stone formations buried beneath layers of sediment. The initial goal was modest: confirm whether the shapes were natural or man-made. But within weeks, the team uncovered a sealed stone archway, carved with an emblem seen before, the circle within a crown. Behind it lay a staircase spiraling downward, hewn from bedrock. No inscriptions, no signs of entry for at least 1,500 years. Just the cold breath of the earth. When the team finally broke through the inner chamber, they found what can only be described as an underground forum, a vast hall lined with columns, perfectly preserved beneath the limestone. At its center, a raised platform on which rested fragments of what appeared to be a throne. Nearby, a tablet was discovered, its text still partially legible. Written not in Latin, nor Old English, but in a script unseen anywhere else in Europe. Carbon dating placed it around the 6th century CE. Linguists struggled to translate it, but one line, faint yet clear, stood out. The world above forgets, but we remember beneath. It was the first direct evidence that someone, or some civilization, had deliberately chosen to live underground. Not refugees, not invaders, but a people preserving themselves against time, Every piece of evidence, from the stone carvings to the architectural style, pointed to a unique synthesis: Roman geometry, Celtic artistry, and something entirely new. A culture born in transition, one foot in the empire, the other stepping into myth. The archaeologists called it the Under Kingdom, but among the researchers, another name soon caught on: the Rememberers. If true, this discovery changes more than our understanding of early Britain. It rewrites the psychology of survival itself. When the world above fell into darkness, plague, invasion, collapse, this hidden civilization chose not to flee across the sea, but to turn inward, beneath the ground, into the very bones of the island. Imagine a society built on remembrance, their cities silent, their halls unseen, yet their memory preserved in stone. A mirror image of England itself, hidden below its own reflection. But perhaps what is most haunting isn't what they built, but what they believed. Among the carvings on the southern wall, one symbol recurs: a sun half buried beneath the earth. In later Celtic myth, this became the sleeping sun, a metaphor for the passage between worlds, between life and death, memory and oblivion. Could the lost kingdom have been more than physical? A philosophical sanctuary, a place where the memory of an older Britain, pre-Roman and pure, was safeguarded from erasure. We go beneath so that England above may rise unbroken, a people willing to vanish so that others could build anew, a sacrifice of identity for continuity, because they never meant to be found. Centuries later, the story would mutate from truth to legend, from memory to myth. They became the sunken ones, the hollow kings, the bells beneath the hill. But in every version, the same echo remains, a warning against forgetting. History, it seems, doesn't erase us out of malice. It buries us gently, beneath the weight of new stories. Today, the chamber near the Thames River lies sealed again, preserved beneath layers of earth and time. The tools have been packed away, the torches extinguished. But somewhere down there in the cold silence of stone, a kingdom still waits, not lost, but listening. And when the wind moves just right over the Severn Valley, some say you can still hear it, a faint ringing like distant bells, calling from beneath your feet. Perhaps some parts of history were never meant to be remembered. Perhaps they were meant to be felt.